What's going on, Socialites? Welcome back to this week's GPS Tracking, your Pokemon podcast for everything you need to know about the Global Pokemon Society Draft League and Pokemon news in general. We got a lot of stuff on this week's podcast. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff to go over for Pokemon news, a lot of stuff going on in the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. We're going to recap the first half of Season 6 of the Global Pokemon Society. We just finished Week 5, 10 weeks, that's half, etc. I'm joined by all the undefeated teams, plus extra that I felt bad for, joining us, and we're going to do a little bit of a recap on the first half of the season as well. And then you're going to get my input on some of the teams and kind of my predictions for the second half of the season. So yeah, with that, let's get right into some Pokemon news. Hey everybody, a lot of Pokemon news going on starting this week. So first off, I want to say that this is the last month, it seems, for Series 10 if you play ranked battles in Sword and Shield. You know, this has been a restricted format without Dynamax, so pretty interesting stuff there. Let me know if you've been playing it. I actually haven't really been playing ranked. I haven't been playing like really any video games. I gotta figure out my priorities in life or something. But yeah. So, and let me know what your predictions are for Series 11. What would you like to see for a new rule set going on there? Speaking of ranked battles, from as we're recording this through October 14th, you can register for the Spooky Cup, which uses a bunch of, you know, scary looking Pokemon. So you got like basically every ghost type, a lot of dark types, some other random spooky Pokemon in there. I'm gonna try to register for this and play in it. I think that'd be good content. Let me know if you plan on joining. People in the society, if you wanna get a like group team together, you know, we can brainstorm on that. I think that'd be fun. Try to like who can bring the best team, you know, using the same team, who can do the best with it for the Spooky Cup. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in. Some 2022 Pokemon World Championship news, going back to live play starting in early 2022. I'm excited for this. I've always wanted to do live VGC. I thought that, you know, 2020 with Sword and Shield coming out would be my thing, and then everything got shut down. So excited for that. And also for all the Pokemon Go fans, this will be the first time Pokemon Go will be at the World Championships. So that'll be very interesting. I'd love to see what Chris Alanius's thoughts are on that. See if he wants to go do some battles at the world stage. So now from the 10th through, I believe, the 24th of October, you can go to Best Buy and get codes for Gigantamax Eevee and Gigantamax Pikachu. If you've been playing the game a long time, you either got these right when the game came out for playing your respectable or respective version of Let's Go, or they did have them as Dynamax Den spawns for a while as well. But here's another way you can get them. I mean, you know, Pikachu's not bad. Eevee is kind of lackluster, but Pikachu's not bad as far as Pokemon can go. Community Day coming up soon. You know, get your Dusk Goals. I'm sure they'll be having a lot of cool spooky Pokemon for Halloween. And big news, earlier today or last night, depending on how you look on it, Sylveon was released for Pokemon Unite. I'm going to be doing a tier list soon, probably this weekend, once I get a few more games in with, because I got to play some more games with Mamoswine, who came out only a couple weeks ago, and then Sylveon, of course. But my early predictions is Sylveon is going to be the best Pokemon. She's definitely S tier. She's definitely top tier. So strong. Basically has, I think, taken over the jungle role, but can also be very good in lane. So that gives her a lot of flexibility. Kind of like what Cinderace was earlier in the meta. And her moves are just really good. I mean, I'll go into a whole video about this, or you can look it up yourself before that. But yeah, Sylveon, big stuff there. So that wraps up this week's Pokemon news. let's get into the recap of the week 5 for the GPS League. Alrighty, 5 weeks in the books for the Global Pokemon Society Draft League, and this was a very interesting week. We had 5 undefeated teams, 5 4-0 teams going into this week, and 4 of them were playing against each other. So we knew we were only going to walk away with 2 or 3 teams. We did walk away with 3 teams, all undefeated. We got the Denver Ninetales and the Memphis Muse, both 5-0, tied with 26 points. And the Boston Braviaries, your Boston Braviaries, 5-0, 23 points, so not too far behind. Then we got a few 4-1 teams. Vero Beach, ooh, really stepping up this season. 4-1, 9 game wins. They're in 4th place, 14 points. Also with 14 points are the Black City Zekrom, also 4-1. They lost to Denver this week. They were one of the undefeated teams. And Pittsburgh, 4-1 with 12 points. They lost to Boston, ending their undefeated season. Then we got a slew of 3-2 teams. We got PSG, still doing very well with those 14 points at 3-2. Tokyo, 3-2 with 4 points, edging out Oklahoma with an extra game win. Oklahoma's really turned around, winning 3 in a row. El Paso moves up to 3-2 on a forfeit win. So, unfortunately, I guess I should have started this off. We had 3 forfeit games this season, or this week, excuse me, which is the first time we've had it all season. So it's really unfortunate to have so many all in one week. One of them was one of the teams broke a rule every game, and they couldn't reschedule the match, so they just forfeited. And the other 2 were just, not being able to schedule or communicate to their partner. So El Paso got a forfeit win over the Diamond Desert Dwellers for that. And we'll move on to the second half of these teams. Charm City Charizards, they lost to Vero Beach. 2-3, still looking out, but they do have a positive differential, which is nice for them. The Dragapults get a much needed win, 2-3, minus 9 points. The Badoops take an L, they're still 2-3. And then we got a bunch of 1-4 teams. Lavatown Gengars at 1-4, really struggling. Waco struggling as well. Slateport got a forfeit win over the mighty Psyducks, therefore the Psyducks got a forfeit loss, as you see there. And Seattle got a forfeit win over Daytona, who was one of the teams that had to forfeit, the one that had to forfeit due to a rules violation. So right now we only got 2 winless teams. That's the Diamond Desert Dwellers and the Daytona Colossal. So we'll have to see, will they be able to pick up a W before the end of the season. Now let's move on to the top 10 Pokemon. Here are the top 10 performing Pokemon. Porygon Z continues to extend their lead. Now 18 KOs. Regigiga still doing big work since being picked up by Tokyo. Now 15 KOs. Sandaconda and Metagross both staying at 13 KOs. Suicune and Entei, the 2 dogs for Paris Saint-Germain, both on there. Bisharp, another Pokemon from Black City. Landorus T been doing well for Lavatown Gengars, but I'm sure he'd rather have some W's there. Zapdos for Waco, kind of same thing. I'm sure he'd rather have wins than top Pokemon. And rounding it out is Mewtwo from the Vero Beach Volcaronas with 10 KOs. So we've hit the point where you gotta start getting double KOs. So this is through the first half of the season. What do you think? Do you think Porygon will end up with 30 or more KOs? Let me know in the comments below who you think will end up with the most KOs at the end of the season. So now we're going to be joined by Kevin from the Memphis Muse, Katie of the Denver Ninetales, and Anthony from the Pittsburgh Poltergeist to kind of do a recap of the first half of the season.
Hey, Socialites. Commissioner here.
joined by a bunch of awesome teams. What one of us is not like the other, but we'll
get your
to
dig
that.
in now, jerk.
We'll get to that. So halfway through the season, as we've been going over, we've already gone over the teams earlier when I recapped everything. And we got 3 undefeated teams, and all of them are here on this podcast. And then I invited Anthony too, because that's fine. So joined by Kevin, the 5-0 Memphis Muse. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. Joined by Caitlyn, the 5-0 Denver Ninetales. Of course, yours truly, Ryan, the 5-0 Boston Braviers. And as I said, we invited the 4-1, the peasant Pittsburgh Poltergeist Anthony on here. So, Anthony, I'll let you go first because, I mean, honestly, this is supposed to be for all the undefeated teams. But
I can leave if you want me to. I don't have to be
Please
here.
don't.
Three's an awkward number. I was actually hoping to lose this week so that it would be me and 3 undefeated teams. But, I just got to be one of them.
Oh, you poor thing.
you poor thing. We feel so bad. Chinese violin right here.
But yeah, Anthony, why don't you just talk about, other than this past week, I don't know how deep you want to go into this past week, but how has your first half of season 6 been? I
mean, I'm still happy. I'm not upset for losing today. I mean, 4-1 is a very, very good record. It's better. It's pretty like if this was one of our our other seasons, I'd pretty much always be shooting for the playoffs at this point. Like one more win, probably 2 easy playoffs. But yeah, no, I mean, good season start. I've been pretty happy with my team. It's been doing about everything I wanted it to do. So I'm pretty happy. Yesterday, didn't go my way, but Ryan and I talked about that after our match. I think we both head gamed each other. He just head gamed me better because I'm like, I'm not gonna bring Tornadoes because he's gonna bring Hatterene, and then there was no Hatterene, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that was super last minute on my part. If you watch the video, I was literally like, 5 minutes before, I'll bring this.
Yeah, totally built my whole team around you trying to set up Trick Room and me stopping you from doing that, but it's okay. Everything is fine. I'm fine.
Speaking of Trick Room, we'll slide over to Caitlyn and the Denver Ninetales because they used Trick Room to great effect this week. For those who have watched her battle, but Caitlyn, 5-0, the storied career of the Denver Ninetales over 6 seasons. This is your best single season start. So how do you feel with the first half of this season in the books?
I feel I'm actually a little surprised with how well I've done, to be totally honest. I haven't been able to bring Melmetal, and I was really hoping to use Alola and Ninetales and more of my Ice Team core, and I'm kind of surprised that that's not the direction my games have been, and that I've still been able to pull out the wins doing these. Trick Room was never my main strategy, and yet it seemed to become my main strategy. It's never my go-to, I guess, because I don't really typically like doing it because I think it's always so floofy trying to pull it off. So I'm kind of impressed that I was able to.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially for this past game, you just had a really solid game plan. For those who didn't watch it, I'll try to remember to throw a card up here. But I titled it Trick Room, Burns, and Reflect, how to beat an offense team. And you just set up everything that, physical offense doesn't want to go up against, and you were able to do all that. Speaking to the effect you were saying about Melmetal and your Alola Ninetales kind of being like a core of your team, I mean, that's what happens when you go up against 2 Sun teams and then a Steel fighting team, basically. You're not going to bring the Ice and Steel Pokemon, but it's good to have multiple facets. I feel like, and Anthony, you could probably talk about this as in regards to your last season, because I think you saw this through last season as well, where if you go with a weather team, you don't want your whole team to be about that weather team. You only need a couple pieces,
Yeah, definitely. something I could speak for last season, or have just a better weather starter. But that was singles. This is doubles.
Yeah.
Different world.
Yeah, it's a different world, but it's kind of the same thing. You want cores, but you want them still spread out because, against some of these teams, you're like, they're a Sun team and that's all they do. Like, you just got to play for that. Like, with
especially
Denver's
in a season,
team, you got Trick Room, you got Hail, you got just big, bulky attackers. So there's definitely a lot more going on there.
Yeah, with Dynamax coming back this season too, you can't rely on weather as much either.
Yeah, there's just more ways to change it, influence it, for sure. Kevin.
Yeah.
This Muse, the upstarts coming from the minors. I will say last season you had a pretty good record in the minors. You made it to the semifinals of the playoffs. But 5-0, obviously very good. You and Denver are actually both tied for first place with points and all that. So obviously I think I know what you're going to say, but how do you feel with your first half of this season?
I feel pretty good. Honestly, I'm just having fun with it, and I can't wait to battle more.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure by the time I do the recap, which people watching this would have already seen, I'm going to kind of do like a strength of schedule thing so you can see like, okay, do I have my hardest battles ahead of me or are they behind me sort of thing? And we can kind of gauge, how teams might perform with that, think about. But I definitely think you got some good games ahead of you, Kevin. So congrats on the great start and look forward to seeing you continue it on. I'll speak a little bit to myself, I guess. So yeah, 5-0, playing with only Gen 8 Pokemon. I love doing the little, themes and challenges. I'm playing kind of on hard mode, but I'm not like Andrew PSG playing on freaking expert difficulty with his Gen 2 team. I would never want to do that. I'm surprised he's even 3-2. Like he probably could have been 4-1 at this point with that team. So props to him. But yeah, obviously 5-0. I had my toughest match this week, of course, going up against a fellow undefeated. So it's good to come out of that with a strong win. And I got a couple more tough matches towards the end of my schedule. So we'll see how we kind of get it rolling here. But Anthony, I'll let you answer this question before we move on to the next point. 3 5-0 teams left. None of us are playing each other. If I had lost and Denver had lost, then you and Black City still would have had a chance to
say, yeah, Black City and I are playing at the end of the season.
Yeah. But right now, none of the undefeated teams are going to play against each other the rest of the season. So who do you think has the best chance of going undefeated of these three teams?
I mean, I'm super biased, but obviously love for the Denver Ninetales, to go. Oh shit, you guys thought I was talking about Kevin. No. Yeah, I think Kevin's team. I was there to watch him pick it. I think he did some really good choices. Give him some coaching sessions preseason, so get him up to snuff, taught him some of his go-to strategies that he's been kicking ass with. So I'm hopeful. He's got a free win next week against the Lavender Town Gengars because they're out of trash. But other than that, I think he's got a good season ahead.
Yeah, no, I can echo that. I do say, especially like you and Kevin and some of the other coaches who don't have recordings, it's very hard to like analyze, right? Because obviously I see Kevin kicking people's butts, but I have nothing to be like, okay, how did this happen?
How is he kicking butts?
Yeah, which is to his benefit because I think against you, Anthony, I only saw like one battle that Charm City had recorded.
Yeah, but I'm doing the same thing I always do.
One battle to go off of, and really how much information can I gauge off of that? So,
I'm doing the same thing I always do. Tailwind wins games.
You didn't do it this time.
Not our match, but other than that, Tailwind just wins games. Me.
All right, so now I want to go back around the horn, and I want everybody to give me one team in the first half that they feel has overachieved. You can say yourself if you feel strongly. And then we're going to go back around and you're going to give me one team that has underachieved. So, Katie, why don't you start off? Give us one team that you feel has overachieved.
And I don't know if it's silly to say, I actually do a little feel like I have overachieved mildly. Just again, because my hard hitting.
Way to brag. No, I'm kidding. You're fine.
Overachieved. I overachieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like I said, I'm surprised. I didn't do well in the past double seasons, honestly.
What do you mean? You made it to the finals last double season.
Yeah, I didn't have
Literally,
a record
you
like
beat
this,
me.
though.
Yeah.
I didn't have a
I
record
didn't
like
do
this,
well.
though.
I only came in second.
I didn't have a record like this, though. I wasn't like this far in, and I feel like I had a rough start in the beginning of that double seasons too. I was getting used to the format, and I don't know. Doubles is hard for me, to be totally honest. I prefer singles, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but I don't like to be too enthusiastic because I'm not a wicked competitive person, to be totally honest. So when I win, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, she didn't even congratulate or thank her opponent. She just got up and walked away. And then like an hour later, it's like, oh, I never messaged him back after the battle.
Out.
Like, hey, you
Pretty
probably should
bad.
do that instead
Sorry,
of being
Matt.
like, now I'm gone. All right, Kevin, how about you? What's a team that you feel has overachieved?
I'm also gonna say myself a little bit. I'm not used to winning or like being in the spotlight or anything like that. So for me, like I'm out of my comfort zone, but it's a good thing. And I just feel like I am doing really well compared to like what I thought I would do. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I am achieving what I strive for. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 5-0. I mean, I guess you could have had some more Pokemon survive, but you know, you can't get much better than that. So, I mean, unless you were predicting.
I mean, he 4-0'd Daytona.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm going to try and do that this week. So we'll see. I got to get some KOs, get back on that top 10 Pokemon board. My KOs are too spread out. I can't do that. All right,
Someone's
Anthony,
got
who's
Oregon
your
Z.
overachiever?
So honestly, I would say I'm not going to say myself because I assume I'm going to do great. No, I'm kidding. But the two that have impressed me the most, based on kind of the changes they made to their team, thus to do better, have been Vero Beach and Oklahoma Thunderesses. I mean, I know the Thunderesses are good. You know, Trevor's amazing. He did really well last season, but like that initial team was terrible, and then he lost the first two. So I was like, okay, like here we are. But like he's come back, won the last three. He's rallied. Made a lot of good changes. Vero Beach, I think, is doing really well this season. I've been impressed with some of their games that I've watched, more so than I have been in the past. So I think those are the two big ones that I'd say are doing way better than I thought they'd be doing. So that's great. Good.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to kind of echo a couple that you guys already said, and also one that I kind of previously mentioned. Kevin, of course, you coming from the minors and starting off 5-0, I mean, is really great. You look at all the other minors and they're all got losing records. So to be the one shining star kind of thing is, you know, obviously great. I will say Vero was one of mine. You know, he's really come out hot, and you know, he bounces ideas off of me and I give him feedback, but he's coming with good ideas this season, and good suggestions. So I like that. And then the other one that I kind of already mentioned was PSG Andrew. Obviously, he did very well last season, going 7-1. But again, he's playing with a very difficult theme for him to play around, and at least the record he has right now is very solid. So if he can continue on with that, you know, I think that'll be quite impressive. All right, now it's time for the people that we think are pooing everywhere.
Too easy.
Poo. Yeah, why don't you start, Anthony? Because we kind of have the same idea.
I will take every opportunity to shit on my best friend in the world. Alex is terrible, and he's doing terrible, and it makes me happy.
Yeah, so Anthony is referring to Alex, head coach of the Lavender Town Gangars. I had him as like the top team out of the draft for like team composition. And not only has he ripped that team apart, but he's also started off very poorly. So yeah, I kind of echo that. I don't know what it is.
He had a tough second week, playing the.
Yeah, but I mean, like okay, could I have seen him lose in one game? Sure, but I feel like we're gonna go through all the teams coming up right after this real quick, but he really ripped his team apart. I felt like it was a very kind of solid team, but we'll go over that a little more. Kevin, who's your underachiever this first half?
I'm not trying to sound like an echo, but I was going to say the Lavender Town Gengars too.
Oh, snap. Ooh,
yeah, Sean Alex.
I want to see him do better because I want to say he is better. I think we want
to see everyone do better as long as they're not playing against us.
Nope.
Except for Anthony.
And honestly, like last year, Anthony was hyping Alex up like he's great at Pokemon, yada yada yada. He kicked your ass, yada yada yada. But now I'm looking at it like, are you sure about that? Because I don't think so at this point.
Right.
I just want to like see him do better.
Yeah, he did pretty well last season. He went 6-2 last season. I think he got bounced out of playoffs, but a very solid regular season. So. There's still a lot of games to be played. Even those 0-5 teams, I tell them at this point, you're still not out of it. So we'll have to see. So Katie, who's your underachiever? You pigpiling on the Lavender Town, or you got someone else you want to throw on there?
I mean, Lavender Town was one that stuck out to me, but one that did more was actually Waco Scissors, because I know in previous seasons he's actually done extremely well, and he had a pretty good team, and I thought that he would be really solid this season.
I will actually hop on Katie's on that one too, because Josh's team looked really good at the beginning.
It did.
Kyogre and the Zapdos. Immediately, I was like, wow. And Kingdra, I was like, this is a really good rain team coming. And I'm shocked his record's not better.
Yeah, I feel like since Josh has returned to the competitive scene, he's had a lot of rust to kind of shake off. We saw that last season. He did kind of struggle, and I mean, like you said, that this season coming out of the draft, he was another one. Like he was one of my favorite teams coming out of the draft. A couple of the C tiers, but everyone's has C tiers that you can like cut and bounce or whatever. And I'm not exactly sure what it's been, but he definitely again, it's kind of one of those things in a draft league when people see your strategy because they see what Pokemon you have. So when you have like such an obvious strategy such as a weather or something, your opponent can game plan around that. So it's you got this really strong strategy, but you have to know people are going to play around that. So how do you play around them playing around it? It's meta.
Years of thinking, Yeah,
there's different layers of thinking, which, as Anthony kind of alluded to earlier, whereas him and I was thinking, how do I win the speed game? He was thinking, I was going to try and reverse the speed game. So he didn't want to bring the speed game. So it was kind of like that. But anyway, moving on. Let's get into some lovely tier lists here. So I changed it up a little bit. This is the new tier list. So there's only going to be one team to fear. We're only allowed to put one team in that top one.
Okay.
Then you got the elite team, so that's like the next one down. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. So these are like, they're good. B tier is like, okay, you're
B tier just doesn't get a cool name.
B tier. Sorry.
No, it's just B.
You get a B, and then start practicing Gen 4 strats for when the remakes come out. So those are the teams who are like, okay, you might as well just start looking at next season. All right, so I am gonna kind of go back and forth, looking at the spreadsheets as well. So we're gonna dissect each team as we go. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
So we got Black City Zekrom, the first one. They, very surprisingly, uncharacteristically, they haven't made any changes through free agency. Usually they're very active free agency. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. So this was the team we were talking about. Steel, fighting types, pretty aggressive. I have been super impressed by their usage for Volcarona. I'm sure, Katie, you can kind of echo that, how annoying it was for your match.
Yeah, it took forever to break him down. I was surprised. I didn't expect that, honestly.
Nothing stops the run.
So
I'm sorry, easy joke.
Too soon.
Still going on.
Still going. All right, so where do we like Black City? Anthony,
I think they're an
why don't you
elite team. I think they're an elite. I mean, they were 4-0 until today. I mean, yeah. So I think they're an elite team.
You think they're elite? Kevin, what do you think? Do you think they're elite, or what do you think?
I think they're elite. I think they deserve to be there, honestly. They have a lot of things that are scary to me. If I went up against them. Am I going up against them? I forget.
No.
No, I don't think so.
No. Maybe
Okay, good.
playoffs. We'll see.
No,
Good.
you're not against them.
But I mean, I don't mind you guys putting them at. For me, it's the I love you, but I'm not in love with you. But
I think based on their, I mean, if we're basing it on record and like, it's still a very aggressive team. You know, all the problems we talked about them in the beginning of the season still remain. You know what I mean? It's just like pure aggro, nothing else. Like only aggro. But you know, I mean, it's doing well enough.
If it wasn't for Volcarona, I would say I love you, but that did give him enough of an edge to kind of allow his team to continue to be aggressive. Although, like, and it's not even just that this team is aggressive, it's also very mono. So if you have the right typing, you could actually take it out pretty handily, except for the fact that he has that one mon being a beefy boy protecting his other guys.
Strong fella.
But if we were smart, Katie, and had kept Rock Slide on Conkelder, it would have been easy game.
Yeah.
Like
Easy clap.
yeah, like that's my fault for.
I generally lean towards I love you. If
No, we'll leave him up in elite.
That's fine.
Fine with that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, your Boston Braviaries. So we've made some changes. We've made some spicy changes. We've added Grim Snarl. We've added Scorch, who we didn't use this week. And we've added Frostmoth and Obstagoon since the start of the season. So again, keeping with our Gen 8 theme. So Katie, where would you put the Braviaries?
all the way at the bottom, start practicing.
All right.
I like it because it's true.
Kevin, why don't you be a voice?
Team to fear, of course. That's what you want me to say, right?
No, I don't want you to say that.
It's the truth, though. You've won more seasons than anybody else. I mean, it's kind of a fact. So
Yeah, but
That's exactly where I'm leaning to.
Anthony, why don't you be a voice of reason? What do you think?
I'm gonna put Ryan down because that's fun. I think another person on this podcast is Team Fear, but it's not Ryan. I think Ryan's an elite team, and I mean I lost him. And you have greed and kills, which just makes me so happy inside. But no, I love Scorch a lot. I do. I used him pretty well 2 seasons ago. So you got a tailwind center, which I appreciate. And yeah, I think you got some good stuff, but you're not the team to fear. I lost an Iron State.
I think we might be thinking of different teams on here for that.
Maybe.
But we'll continue on. All right, next we got the Buffalo Badoops. They haven't made any changes this season, so they still got Ditto, Lucario, Doug Trio. Again, I wish I could see like what their battle was with you, Kevin, because I'm wondering how Xerneas does his Lucario just not have any steel moves? Like what's he doing, or what are you doing?
Xerneas got off of Geomancy before he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It feels like Lucario was the last thing to die. So what was going on?
He died they actually died at the same time. He did a Dazzling Gleam that killed off Lucario and Doug Trio in one hit.
Oh, okay. See, that's like what was he Dynamaxing? Was he even Dynamaxing?
What did he?
Oh,
I
God.
don't think he
What did
Dynamaxed
he?
the first game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just seems very, very poor play. Not that I'm saying you would have lost that, Kevin, but I'm like, come on, you gotta at least put up a fight, like knock out something. So what do we think about the Badoops? Kevin, you just played him. What do you think about the Badoops?
I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
That
I'd say a little lower.
very aggressive.
I think B or start practicing.
I don't
B.
think he's
I
as
think
low as
B.
start practice.
I would say B.
B.
Yeah, I'm gonna go B. He's got a solid record through the first half. 2-3 isn't horrible. Definitely room for improvement, but also room to have done much worse. Got to make some changes, Zach. You got to think about your strategy. Got to maybe Dynamax something.
He did the second game.
Yeah. Learn.
Just didn't go as well.
All right. Next up, we got the Charm City Charizards. They made a couple additions. They've gone Whimsicott, Pheromosa, and Vikavolt added to their team since the start of the season. Still got Necrozma, Duskmane, and Garchomp. They still got Cobalion, Azumarill, who they haven't used since week 1, really, but obviously it did pretty well for them there. Anthony, what do you think about Charm City?
So the one thing I noticed about Charm City is it's all physical attackers when I played them. I just brought I brought Arcanine with Will-O-Wisp and Sandaconda, who's hugely bulky, Corviknight, who's hugely bulky, and I didn't find it to be a hard time once you can stall them out all-wise.
But that's kind of Black City's thing too. They're all physical attackers. You got Volcarona and Naganadel, who he never brings. So I mean, you can't say that for one team and then not.
That's fair. And
Black City has a lot more shared weaknesses than.
If you want to move Black City down, I'm fine with it. I'm
not pressuring you, Anthony.
This is an I love you, but I'm not in love with you team. Definitely. I'm all right with that. You can move them both there. I don't care.
Yeah, I think that's solid.
That's fine.
I do like Charm City's core. Kevin, did you want to add something on that?
No, I think that's about right.
Oh, okay. I saw you raising your hand. I wasn't sure.
Oh no, I'm fixed. I have like these earbuds in and they keep falling out, so I keep pushing them back in.
Okay, I got you. I just saw the hand up here, so I was like, oh, like.
Did you bring enough for the class?
So, yeah, I like what he's doing, but I agree with you, Anthony. The one thing I would definitely want added is at least one strong special attack. He's got Vikavolt, but Vikavolt needs a little bit of support. So
yeah, I mean, I love Whimsicott. I mean, Whimsicott was my MVP last season, or last double season.
Couple seasons, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love it. Obviously, Tornadus is my Prankster Tailwind setter. So, Prankster Tailwind is always a great thing. I love, I think, Tailwind definitely makes the Necrozma a lot better. Definitely gets it over that very middling speed that it has. So I think there's definitely a lot I like here, but that was the one thing when we battled, I was literally I bring in something to stop.
Yeah, Arcanine and a
rest, and you're done. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Daytona Colossals. So Daytona.
There's so much potential in your team. It just has.
They added Blastoise, which is a good pickup for them, but again, it's one of those things that I kind of echoed. When someone sees a strong strategy on your team, they're going to try and counter it. So how do you counter their counter sort of thing? And it's Colossal with Aqua Jet or, some sort of steam engine weakness policy proper is a very strong strategy. So someone's going to bring their own fast water type or their own bulky or fast ground type to kind of counter that. And how do you play around that? Kevin, what do you feel about Daytona?
I would give them a B.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean, but
honey.
Yeah.
Probably
I'd give them.
I would go lower.
You would go lower?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if we're again, like, yeah, we're taking everything into account. Like, it's definitely
not just their team, but also their track record for this season. So you can have.
I agree. Like, this isn't the first. This isn't the draft where I'm like too heavily influenced by like the coaches, on the team. Like this one, it's like, yeah, the team looks great, but like it hasn't been put to. Rayquaza hasn't been brought to anything. I'm sorry.
He got brought this week, but he got disqualified because he Dynamaxed every game with Rayquaza. So not breaking the rules, people. It's been 5 weeks. The rules doc is like 2 pages long.
It's not that long, guys.
Not that hard.
But yeah, so I'm fine putting him. Stop practicing, my boy.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. A lot of the team, like, could I see him coming back?
Maybe.
No, he plays me this week. He's not coming back.
Yikes.
Wow.
The brutal setup.
Ouch. All right. The Denver Ninetales. They have added Jellicent since the start of the season. Other than that, kept their core basically, well, exactly as it is. Incineroar, Melmetal, Rotom Wash, Ninetales, Arctozolt, Conkeldurr, Gengar, Alolan Executor, and Klefki. What are you thinking, Anthony?
I mean, they're definitely either the team to fear or elite teams to me. I mean, I can't put anyone that's 5-0.
I think they're the team to fear out of this.
When was the last time I beat you? Like season 1?
That's fine.
Just saying.
Listen, I can't put myself up there, so I'll put my wife.
And I can't let him put himself there.
Yeah, I can't do that. I need some chip on my shoulder.
Some chip. I mean, I'll take the team to fear. I'm not going to turn that.
Well, I think Kevin's got a chance here.
I would do. Oh God. I would probably put Elite.
Really?
I would put Elite.
I'd probably side with Elite too, because Boston Braviaries and Kevin, your team makes me nervous too.
Yeah, both of you guys make me nervous.
I'm
glad I'm not that.
Well, none of you are playing. It's fine.
I know.
I gotta look at Kevin's team. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put Denver in elite teams. So can we agree? We'll
just
now,
put the
these
5-0s in the elite
3,
team.
right? I mean, these are our 3 last undefeateds. One of these is the team to fear. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I'm gonna skip a little bit. I'm gonna go to Kevin's team. I'm gonna go to Kevin's team real quick, just because I gotta look at it. Again, I don't get to see video of him, so I don't see it all the time. All right, so he has added Butterfree since the start of the season. I mean, obviously, like the top 5 are super good to me. Like obviously Xerneas, Stack Attack.
They have been. Palossand, for someone who's watched all of Kevin's matches, except for one. Palossand has been actually amazing for him.
Oh yeah, Palossand's been great.
I would like Kevin. You should pick up Aselgor, so you have the Aselgor Palossand combo.
You think so?
I mean, if you like Palossand, this only makes it better. You get basically max defense and weakness policy proc with as your Palossand. So, priority.
I mean, he's been doing it with Urshifu a little bit.
Yeah, but that's crit, so that's stab plus crit, so you're not taking.
Well, no, you Aqua Jet.
Aqua Jet, yeah.
Oh no, Water Shuriken, it hits you 3 to 5 times.
Oh yeah, 3 to 5 times to get the
all up there. Yeah. I'm saying you go big. You go big with that,
Okay.
and then you just like final gambit to kill your Aselgor and knock something out or whatever. I don't know, just an idea. Okay, oh, this is close. I definitely think it's between Denver and Memphis, but we can only pick one.
I think it's Memphis, personally. I think your team has a few counters against mine. I think yours is going to be really hard to play around.
Yeah, I hope I get to face Memphis in the playoffs, just because I want to go up against a good.
See,
team.
I'm afraid to go up against you two. I am.
You should be afraid.
We're all gonna be game the rest of the season, so he doesn't have to.
They call me his daddy, so you should be afraid, Kevin.
Well, he already has a daddy on this podcast, sweetie.
So actually, I do want to go over that, Kevin. I meant to ask. So now that you're clearly better than Anthony at Pokemon, has that
Yikes!
dynamic?
What is it?
Has that shifted the bedroom dynamic for you?
Right.
I want to say yes, but I'll get in trouble. So no, it hasn't.
You'll get him in trouble, Kevin. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're the team to fear. He should
So
be quaking
scared.
in his little booties. All right,
Thank you.
let's go back.
Joke's
to,
on you. I'm into that shit. Keep going, though.
Let's go back to the other team. So Diamond Desert Dwellers. This is one of our Hard Sun teams. They've added Gothitelle, Blissey, and Lilligant to the team since the season started. What do you think, Anthony?
This is like bees straddling starting the Gen 4 one. Just from what I've seen from their battles, just some interesting, and by interesting, not great choices on some of their moves and attacks. Hard Sun, as I kind of talked about last season, not my fave. Groudon is an okay-ish choice. Charizard's been doing really well, but that's kind of expected. It's a really fucking good Gigantamax. So yeah, I would say like, if it did more things again, like if it did more than just Sun, like it's very Hard Sun. Like I feel like he's running into the same problem I had with my season, where it's like a few Pokemon do the exact same thing. Like chlorophyll he's got like 3 or 4 chlorophyll sweepers. It's like you don't need that many. Like
he kind of went too far in. At this point, it's too hard to get far enough out of it. I put him
both
around. Of these teams, like, we are kind of putting their performance in on this and what we've seen them kind of do, or as you said, Anthony, not do. If based on their teams, I think they could move up to B.
Easily.
Yeah, but you got to prove that you can bring that team together in that sense. All right, next up we got the Driftvale City Dragapults. So they've added Excadrill, Skuntank, and Mantine since we started the season. Some interesting additions. The Mantine did nothing in their last game, yet it survived both games and they won the match because of it. So, you know.
I mean, Excadrill was a really good pickup for this team.
Yeah.
That was an insane pickup.
Yeah, that definitely a lot more versatile than Dracovish, for sure. So, Katie, where do you like the Dragapults?
I'd probably put them in an I love you tier. I think that their team has a lot of potential, and with having the new picks that they have this week, I think will help them with a lot of their future matches.
Yeah, Cole's doing a lot, not as good as I thought he would do this season, but yeah, I still love the team.
He was up there for one of my underachievers. You know, if we were doing like maybe our top 3 underachievers, he probably would have squeaked in as like the 3rd. Because again, when his team came out of the draft, I thought it was very, very solid. But he's definitely
me being partial to Excadrill as well, though, and I know exactly what it can do for your team if you use him right. So he could definitely take a lot of matches if you can use him the right way.
Yeah, now that he's got the Excadrill.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good place for him. All right, the El Paso Electros. You know, if this team had squeaked out one more win the last couple weeks, they probably would have been my surprise team. But
I was also thinking that they were on my list of like teams that have done pretty well.
But they've kind of evened back out. I mean, still a long season. So we got to see how it rounds out. But they have as many wins so far as they had all of last season. So,
hey, room for improvement.
Yep. They've added Crawdaunt since the start of the season. Obviously, they got like Torkoal, that they've just been kind of using with Ho-Oh to kind of like give it stronger Sacred Fires. Toadkid's annoying, Cresselia, Trick Room kind of stuff with Crawdon. They've used Lantern pretty annoyingly as well. Yeah, Kevin, what do you think about El Paso?
I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Does that sound okay?
It sounds
what do you
whatever
guys,
you want it to sound.
what do you guys think? Like,
I would probably agree with that. The I love you tier.
Hmm.
Maybe leaning towards B, but
Yeah, I think it's border.
Yeah, low I love you, high B, if like somewhere.
I need to see them do something more than Dynamaxing Cresselia the next couple weeks, because that seems like what they've been doing, and that's just not what you want to do with Cresselia.
But why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just game plan, have a better Dynamax option. Use Cresselia like support, helping hand, ally switch, Trick Room, Icy Wind kind of stuff, and etc. and have another Dynamax. All right. Lavender Town.
Come on next season, bitch.
Regidrago, Nihilego, Quagsire, and Giratina. So a lot of changes. Again, I feel like, let's look at the Pokemon they got rid of. Arcanine, Kieran Black, Regieleki, Sceptile, Toxicroak. They got rid of some good Mons.
I do. So some of their changes I definitely like. Landorus, I think, was an excellent add for Regieleki. He wasn't really doing much with the Reggie. And Landorus.
But is that Reggie's problem or is that his problem?
I think Lando is a good choice too.
I think Lando's fine, but would I rather have Regieleki and Arcanine or Landorus and Regidrago?
I mean, I'm not going to
have the other Reggie and Arcanine.
I got the Arcanine, so I was happy.
Yeah, of course you were happy. I thought that was the steal of the freaking century. Guy freaking last picks Regidrago, gets it for probably one of the best B tiers in the freaking draft. Like, I was like, well, I don't have a reason to block this trade, so I guess other than I think it's crazy, but I've said that on a previous podcast.
He didn't want so many Intimidators. I understand.
He didn't want so many Intimidators, and then he picks up another Intimidator.
Listen, I'm trying to help.
Anyway, okay. So obviously we've talked about underachieving. Katie, where do you feel about Lavender Town?
Just based off their record, I'm not totally thrilled with their current team either, so probably a B. I don't think they deserve to be.
I don't think they're a B. I think they're still I love you, but I'm not in love with you. But at this point, it's like you got to prove me. Like, you got to prove to me. Like, we're in a relationship, and you've kind of been like,
yeah, but if do they have to prove that they're?
And I'm like,
I'm so sorry for you.
Don't they have to prove that they're an I love you though? Because if they're an I love you, then they're proving to you they're an elite team.
Yeah, but I think their team is still like, I still like their team better than El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think, Anthony?
Oh, I'm so biased. No, if we're being honest, I do like their team better than El Paso. The record is where I think we ship you down to B.
You know, a lot of it's based off the record as well for me.
Kevin, do you think B?
I feel like he's been performing B, but like with his team, I want to say I love you. Do you know what I'm?
Yeah, no, you're
got it.
You're what I'm saying. So, I mean, we can go B. I'll go like high B. All right.
What are reasons for Gengar and El Paso? Do you think that we should swap them in the tier list?
That'd be fine with me.
Like swap these?
Yeah. Because if you're using him in comparison to El Paso and you think he's better than El Paso, then they should be swapped then.
But record-wise, he's not better than El Paso. It's kind of
Yeah. Oh. We'll see. No, I'm okay with this. Like, this is like kind of like the cutoff if we're putting everything in there. All right, the mighty Psyducks. I thought this was another team where I was like, oh, this could be the season. Ollie's got a good draft.
I thought he had a good draft.
Strong. He hasn't made any changes, so he's still got all this going on. Again, someone that I don't really get to see a lot of video of, so I can't really critique really how he's been coaching or playing. What do you think, Anthony, for the Psyducks?
So the match I had against him, he had some definitely, if I remember, this was obviously week 1. So like my memory's slightly hazy on what exactly happened. But if I remember, there were definitely some interesting choices of moves on Pokemon. So E.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I'm going to start going through these a little faster because we're getting up on the clock here.
Sure.
All right, Oklahoma Thunderous. They've turned it around with some good additions. Urshifu Single Strike, Celesteela, Crocodile, and Frostlass, all being added to their team since the start of the season.
Leading the league in KOs was Porygon Z.
Yeah, Porygon Z, a big lead in KOs. Well, what do you think about Oklahoma, Katie?
They're for sure. I love you. Almost higher up there as well for me.
I think they could be an elite team. Do you think so, Kevin?
I would give.
They've like inched their way up there. They've turned it around.
I would actually put them like right before Black City.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like right before Black City.
All right. So like right here,
Before. No, like
Before.
So like you
Oh,
be
like right
first.
here?
Yeah.
like at the
Yeah.
top of I Love You.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next we got PSG, the Gen 2 team. They haven't made any changes. They really can't because there's just not enough Gen 2 Pokemon really for them to do much with. So pretty solid record though through the first half of the season. What do you think, Anthony, for the PSG?
I mean, due to their restriction, I'd say it's an I Love You team, but you know, they're doing really well with that restriction.
Where would you squeeze them in here?
Definitely above Charm City.
Yeah,
I don't know if in front of Black City, but definitely in front of Charm City.
Next, we got the Pittsburgh Poltergeist. They did lose to Black City, so I mean,
That's fair.
you have to kind of like keep that into effect. All right, Pittsburgh Poltergeist. They've made a couple changes. They've gone Gudra, Alolan Sandslash, Vanillux, and Arcanine. So, Katie, where do you like Pittsburgh?
I'd say one of the elites.
Hey.
Yeah, I think they're still up in the elites. I mean, obviously,
Oh yeah.
it's probably like this order for the elites.
I'll take it.
I mean, I've proven I can beat you. So can't go ahead of me.
Whatever. I'll take it.
All right, Seattle
I like
Shiny Sylveon
Sandaconda MVP.
getting their. What's that?
I said Sandaconda MVP. That Pokemon's great.
You're not good enough to bring against me. So how good is he? If he can't take down the Boston Braves, how
Sassy and
I wanted to
sassy.
bring the ice. I wanted to bring the ice core against you. It was fun.
yeah, it was fun. It died.
Yeah, I know. You had so many things that 4 times killed the Alolan Sandslash.
Oh, sorry, you bring something that has so many 4 times weaknesses.
I know. I wanted to give him a try. Don't shame
And honestly, Sandslash
Oh my
is pretty
God.
freaking slow.
Seattle shiny.
So, Seattle Shiny Sylveons. Yeah, I think we know.
Oh,
Poor you.
A for effort.
All right, Slateport. I mean, we know this one too, right?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. We'll just skip on. That's fine.
What? I mean, they haven't made any changes.
I know. I know.
Okay, here's a team that's made a couple changes. Tokyo
Good one.
Togekiss, they picked up Regigigas and Galarian Weezing, so they got that combo. In just 2 matches, Regigigas already has 9 KOs. So, Katie, what do you feel about Tokyo?
I love Magirna. Definitely an I love you tier. I don't know if they fit up with elite, but they won last season too, so they could be in the elite.
I don't count last season.
No,
No. What do you
it means
think?
they can pull it out. You know.
I love you, if not right behind me in elite. I like the Regigigas core. The game's great.
I can't put them ahead of, freaking Black
Sylveon's great.
right now.
That's fair.
Like, yeah,
I-
Regigigas is This is kind of the thing that I've been saying though. Okay, now they picked up Reggie Gigas Weezing and they're winning. You know, I already beat them, but let me face them now that they have Reggie Gigas, and I'll destroy them again because now I know what they want to do even more. Like at least before, I was like, ooh, they could be doing different stuff, and I beat them. And now I know that they want to do something.
That's fair.
All right, Vero Beach Vocal Runner. So here's one of our overachievers that we feel for this season. They've made some changes, picking up a Alolan Persian, Chinchino, and Hitmonlee.
Mhm.
How do you feel about this team, Kevin?
I would definitely put them. I would put them at the bottom of the elite, right
really?
behind Pittsburgh.
Put them up into the elite. Okay, cool. What do you think, Katie?
Probably high. I love you. The thing with Vero Beach is I never really know what to expect from them. I feel like every time I go into one of their matches, because they do very interesting things, and I'm just like, oh, what's happening? And then he wins, and I don't know what happened.
I mean, Tapu Koko, Alolan Raichu seems to be their start a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like their big starter too, which makes sense. I mean, Surge Surfer, but yeah.
Hi, I
I
love
think
you.
I love
Elite. Yeah.
I love you.
I think
Okay.
I almost agree with you, Kevin. I just I don't know. I'm looking at these three teams, well, like these four teams in general, and I'm like, okay, these are like the top right now.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to do a lot to prove to me. Like, yeah, he's almost there. Like again,
Mhm.
Black City record-wise has kind of proven it, but again, I just see like how I would combat that team.
Yeah.
Katie
Fair.
did very well and couldn't even bring the strongest parts of her team against it. So, all right, and last but not least, we got the Waco Scissors. They have added Drifblim since the start of the season, our de facto rain team. So, Anthony, what do you think about Waco?
The team is an I love you, but again, the record and like the B.
Yeah, where would you put them in B?
I think their team looks better than Lavender Town, so I would say
Yeah, I do too.
top
Like,
of the
barely.
B. Yeah, like top of the B.
Yeah. Like I think if them and Lavender Town went up against each other, I think Waco would have the advantage, like on paper.
On paper, yeah.
All right, so
I like this. This looks good.
pretty good. Obviously, we got the team Defia, Kevin, and the Memphis Muse. Then we got the rest of the elite teams because we're all on this podcast, so we get to decide that we're the best team.
Yeah.
Listen, I think our records back up the support of this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Ow, it hurts.
Then we got a bunch of people. These are probably the teams that we think are fighting for playoff spots right now. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. They could still make things happen.
Oh yeah.
We got the B squad, kind of like the outside looking in right now. They gotta move a lot of muscle here.
There's a road ahead, but it's possible. But there's a road ahead.
They're going okay. So these teams are going cross country, but they got GPS. This team's going cross country, and they gotta use that big freaking map that you gotta pull out and figure everything out and
Do
everything.
they still make those?
They don't have
Real
Wi-Fi.
time?
They skipped on their phone bill. So they do have the way to get there. It's just gonna be a lot more difficult. They're gonna have to pull over, make some pit stops, and
Show some leg, hitchhike a little bit. Got it.
yeah. And then I hope you guys buy Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and that you want to join us for season 7.
I feel bad because it's like all the minor league teams except for Kevin.
And the Badoops. We put the Badoops
The
in
dudes too.
the minor league champs. So,
Just feel bad.
That's what happens when I'm just like, well, we're gonna have a 20-team season.
With a huge season.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
get up here. All right. So thanks guys for
Thanks for having us.
for joining me for this. Congrats Kevin, congrats Katie, congrats
Thank-
me.
Congrats.
You did.
I'm sad.
Congrats Anthony on your first loss being to me. I mean, obviously I'm the one who should do it. because I'm the
Guess
best.
so.
So
Listen, I'll try to go 9-1.
Is what it is. But yeah, thanks guys. Catch you
All
next
right.
time.
Hey Socialites, so let me know what you thought about that tier list video. We're gonna dive a little bit more into the numbers here, and I'm gonna kind of give my predictions for the second half real quick, just to close out this podcast. So one of the things I like to do, usually at the end of the season, is I do a strength of schedule calculation. That way you can kind of see like, okay, how difficult was your season, so to speak. So I did one for the first half of the season and then predicting your second half of the season based on this. So you can, I'll link this spreadsheet and everything down below, so you can go check that out. If you're not part of the league. If you're part of the league, you already have access to all this. But let's just take a look at some of these highlighted numbers. First, I want to take a look at all the undefeated teams. So if you look down at the bottom of this, this is the schedule page. If you look down at the bottom where it says SOS, that's the strength of schedule, and then FSOS is the future strength of schedule. So if you're at a 1.0, that means it's a completely even schedule. Your opponents won as much as they lost, etc. You're at 500. So lower than 1 means that you had an easier schedule. Higher than 1 means you had a harder schedule. So we're going to take a quick look at these undefeated teams. So Boston had a 0.79 for the first half, below average. Same thing with Denver, below average. Then if we scroll over, you might not be able to see, I might have to get tiny. Oh, whoa. Maybe it'll just disappear. Boom. All right. So if you look at Memphis, which is over here, you see they had a 0.32. That is the lowest for the entire first half of the season. So it means they had the easiest schedule. Now, there is a difference. I also do a weighted schedule at the end of the season, so you can really see how you performed. Because obviously, his schedule is going to be easier if he's beating everyone. So that is something to think about. But they have a combined 6 wins between them. So even if you took that out, they would be 6 and 6-14 would not playing against him. Like, that's still pretty low. Still a pretty bad record. So a couple of the things I wanted to highlight was Oklahoma and the Diamond Desert Dwellers at 2.13. You see that they had the highest sort of strength of schedule as anyone for the first half of the season. Looking forward at the second half of the season, you do see that Oklahoma also has the highest predicted schedule for the second half of the season, 2.57. I mean, they did go undefeated last season, so they were going to have a slightly harder schedule, but I mean, just some of the teams they've been playing have been doing very well. And then for the easiest schedule in the second half here, we look at the Slateport Sableyes. You see there are 0.19. 0.19. Their future opponents have a combined 4 wins between them. They're 4-21 so far this season. So Slateport got a little gift this week. Got a forfeit win, so they're 1-4. I mean, if they end up going 5-0 and getting to the playoffs, then more power to them. I think they need to make some changes to their team for sure, but they definitely have an opportunity here in this second half more than most teams would. So yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on that. If you want to check out these numbers, you can go take a look at that, see who's having the toughest schedule, who might have the toughest or easier schedule going forward. So my predictions for the second half of the season is this. I expect Boston to end up 9-1. I'm going to go by division, so we're going to go to the Eastern Division first. Boston to go 9-1, make the playoffs. PSG to go 6-4, make the playoffs. The Driftville City Dragapults to go 6-4 and make the playoffs. And then Daytona and Slateport, they're going to miss the playoffs. In the North Division, I got Pittsburgh ending up 7-3, so I predict they'll lose a couple more, but they'll make the playoffs. Black City Zekron will go 6-4 and make the playoffs. Charm City's just gonna miss it. I have them going 5-5, and then the Psyducks and Buffalo Badoops will be missing the playoffs. All right, Denver, who's my team to fear. I think they got a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way here. I have them going undefeated 10-0, making the playoffs as number 1 seed. Tokyo I have making the playoffs at 6-4. Waco will just miss the playoffs at 5-5. I think they can turn around. Their schedule gets a lot easier. And the Diamond Desert Dwellers in Seattle are going to miss the playoffs. Then in the South, I have Vero actually winning the South. They're going to overtake the Memphis Muse. I have both teams going 8-2, but I have Vero beating Memphis in the last week of the season. And then I have Oklahoma Thunderous. They'll end up 6-4, making the playoffs as well. And El Paso will just miss the playoffs at 5-5, and the Lavertown Gangars will miss the playoffs. So let me know what you think about that. And as always, thanks for watching, Socialites. Stay classy, society.